Hey, what's going on, guys? Indie Pride here, back with Milk and Cookies Total War, and I just got back from Puerto Rico, my spring break, and that was a nice little trip that I had there. A week out in San Juan, went to a World Baseball Classic baseball game, went to the bars a lot, drank a lot, met some girls. It was a good trip. But I'm back now, back at school, back to the grind of college and making a business plan. I, it's not fun, but bringing you another Shogun 2 vanilla replay now. This was actually my first game back from Puerto Rico, and I wouldn't say that I was rusty. It really, I mean, I was only gone from Shogun for like a week and a half, but this was actually a really interesting battle that I played with 50 Bomb, my good friend, New Zealand Kiwi man on the left. Across from me, Beardy, the Australian, RTK Beardy, and across from 50 Bomb in the white is player you guys all know very well by now probably is Braver Plenar, and so this is a really good matchup. We're all pretty talented players, I'd like to think, and this is an interesting map that doesn't get played very often. It's Osaka Plain, and while it is a very interesting map and there's a lot of terrain, it does create standoff choke points, and you'll see that definitely in this battle. As you can see right now, me and Beardy are just kind of staring at each other across the river at the moment, and there will be a lot of that at the beginning of this battle, but it's fine if you stick with it. This replay is definitely worth watching. So, I mean, there's just a lot of maneuvering that goes on. A lot of guns. Guns on Osaka Plain are a big deal because you want to be able to control that space in the middle, and the easiest way to do that is with ranged units. 50 Bomb brought a very interesting setup actually. He has mounted gunners, a Daikyu Samurai firing at the the light cav of Braver Planar in the middle there. He has a lot of ranged units. Really, I would say that you could make the claim that he has a ranged core in this battle. He has, I believe, 3 matchlocks, a mounted gunner, Daikyu Samurai, and just not a lot of infantry units. He has a bulletproof Samurai, Yari Samurai, some Naginata attendants, and some Yari Ashikaru to back up his ranged units, but other than that, he has a very ranged heavy build, and so he's going to be seeking to exploit that skirmish advantage as much as he possibly can. Of course, Braver also has a ton of matchlocks, and Beardy has 2 of them as well. So really, it's going to be whoever can use their ranged units to their advantage that's going to be able to win this battle, because forcing your opponent to attack across the river is always a big advantage in any Total War game, especially in Shogun. There's a morale penalty for fighting on the downslope of a hill when you're going into a river, and there's obviously the slow movement speed of running through water, which I did counteract by bringing Yamabushi Guide. Definitely any map that has a lot of terrain, like Osaka Plain, any steep hills, or any rivers, Yamabushi Guide is a great retainer to bring if you want to be able to traverse that landscape very quickly. In the middle here, 50 Bombs mounted gunners have been doing a decent amount of damage. Actually, they haven't done as much as you would think. They've gotten 4 volleys off or so far. Only have 40 kills. I don't know if that's because they're in loose formation, but he's been focusing on those Yari Samurai, Braver. Those are pretty highly upgraded Yari Samurai, and we want to get those off the field ASAP. But he's going to commit some of his Yari Samurai into this fight now, and going to chase off that Yari Cow with some Daikyu shots. But I think he friendly fires his Yari Samurai a little bit here. Yeah, they're in yellow morale, concerned under friendly fire, and he tries to pull out here, and Braver's not going to let that happen. He's a smart player. He's going to activate Rapid Advance, catch up to that Yari Samurai, and this was actually an issue because 50 Bomb's going to lose our Yari Samurai that costs, I don't know, about 1,000 Koku, and he's not going to get actually, he only has 10 kills with it at the moment. So that's going to waver and rout because Braver did a good job tying that down and getting some cavalry in behind. And there it goes. So that's definitely one thing you want to be careful of with matchlocks and mounted gunners too, is friendly firing units is a bad idea, obviously. And I think he just didn't micro around his mounted gunner enough to get a good clean line of sight off on that Yari Samurai. So it's just positioning right now. I'm moving up my matchlocks on the left flank. I'm going to try to get some shots off, I think. But really, I don't want to commit my guys into the water, because if I do that, then their cav might be able to exploit that and take out my matchlocks because my Yarashgar will be slower in the water. But there's another engagement going on here in the middle. 50 bombs, bulletproof samurai is going into melee, and lots of cav coming up the middle for 50 bomb. Gonna hit those Yari samurai. Obviously doesn't want to stay in that fight, so he's gonna pull out quickly. And there's some flanking going over on Braver's right flank. 50 bombs cavalry is going on over there, general and light cav. And it's just kind of chaotic in the middle here. He's gonna try to do as much damage to units as he can with his cavalry and then pull out. Unfortunately, he's gonna lose his bulletproof samurai as well because they're getting some massive flanking shots. And really, it is very chaotic at the moment. There's a lot of fighting going over the sword dojo. Whoever controls that's going to be able to control this melee engagement. I would say we have the melee advantage, but Braver and Beardy both have a lot of cav and a lot of matchlocks, so both getting some good shots off on the Yari samurai. In the middle there, they've lost 20 men. And 50 bomb, as you can see in the distance there, his avatar's bodyguard and light cav are still flanking around, trying to exploit any holes that they possibly can. It's at this point that I decided to send my cav over to help 50 bomb out, so we're going to try to force all of our cav over on Braver's far right flank, get over that hill, try to get all the way around behind him, and see if we can find any openings. In the forest here, his matchlocks are getting some good shots off, taking out 30 of those Yari samurai, and he's going to spear wall with his Yari Ashigaru and retreat those matchlocks. Very smart. Tie them down with that spear wall. And really, the engagement on my side isn't going to start for a while here. Really, 50 bomb and Braver were doing a lot of skirmishing early on in this battle. And they're actually both very good skirmishers. If you guys want to learn about skirmishing, just watch some of Braver's replays. He never engages unless he's had a good skirmish phase. And it's funny to watch, but he's it's what he does. He skirmishes the balls off other people. And he's very good at it. So Braver actually has a really good position at the moment. He's lined up in these trees, and the problem though is that he doesn't have 125 range matchlocks like 50 bomb does. 50 bomb has the matchlock samurai and matchlock monk, so he has the 25 extra range, and although Braver's in the better position, he doesn't have the range to use that position to his advantage. I'm now moving my matchlocks up a little bit onto the island there, trying to cap that sword dojo, which we do have capped now, which is good. We definitely want that infantry help. But Braver has decided that he doesn't want to really deal with any of the cav that 50 bomb has, and he's going to retreat back across the river, which is actually really smart because he'll have those clear line of sights. If any infantry or cav tries to cross the river, they'll be going right into a couple volleys of matchlock fire. And 50 bomb has done a very good job so far of being aggressive with his cav, and as you can see, we've finally decided to push this cavalry over across the river past the matchlocks, and I think we set up on the hill that's behind the big old hill that's behind Braver at the moment, but I'm not sure if we do that right now. Kind of just chilling at the moment. There's an engagement over on my right flank. 50 bomb's mountain gunners are getting some good shots off, and pretty soon here he's actually going to lose this mountain gunner, which was bad because that mountain gunner was a huge advantage. I know a lot of you hate mountain gunners, and I don't blame you. They're a troll unit, but they are very good, very effective. And you know what? As long as you don't kite eternally with them, I don't really have an issue with it, because if you use your cav effectively, you can shut down a mountain gunner pretty easily. His mountain gunners have 124 kills, but they're really not on very many important units. He shot a lot of Naginata tenants and a lot of units that don't really matter too much. Our cav is finally pushing across the river over on our left flank, and we're definitely going to try to push a cavalry fight here because I have my fire cav, 25 attack with the sword dojo, Naginata warrior monk cav with 19 attack, and then all of 50 bombs cav and his general supporting as well. So they do have a decent amount of cav, but they do not have enough cav to deal with what we have coming up on their flank. $50 bombs still skirmishing with the mountain gunner on my right flank, and pretty soon here I believe I shift to the middle of this river and we set up for a final engagement, but there's so much skirmishing in this replay that it's kind of hard to remember exactly what happened. I don't know why I let that Naginata tenant stay there for so long. I pull it out. I can't remember if they got shot, but really, even though it's only a 220 Koku unit, you don't really want to leave a unit on an island all by itself like that. Getting a couple shots off with my Matchlock Warrior Monks, but really they don't have a great angle. And 50 Bomb actually just got a really nice volley off on one of their cav units, which was good. So yeah, it was at this point, we have our cav all like in a really good position on Braver's flank and rear. And so our plan was for me to push all the way across the river and kind of attack that blob of troops that Braver has in the forest, and that Beardy has that Matchlock contingent right there. And actually, over on the right, 50 Bomb just lost his mounted gunner, micro lapse, kind of a big mistake. I don't blame him because we were focusing on the cavalry, but would have been nice to have that unit. But that's gone now, so they have all their cav on our right flank. We have all our cav on their side, and it's going to be who can exploit that cav better. Beardy sent some cavalry to reinforce, but they have Yari Samurai backing them up, so we're not going to fight a cav fight at that point. But yeah, this is going to be my final rush coming in. I'm going to bring my Matchlocks up front and then realize that they're not going to get any really good shots off, so I'm going to maneuver them to the flanks and then send all my swords, my katanas, my nodachis right up the middle. And then if we can time it right, have our cav come up and hit that whole melee blob in the rear. The problem is that they have a lot of Yari Samurai, so our cavalry is going to have a tough time finding holes to exploit. Getting a couple good volleys off from 50 Bomb's Matchlocks. And we're going to move in for this final infantry engagement, which I will say was not my best infantry engagement. I get a little bit blobbed up here, don't meet shield too well. And there is the problem that I'm blocking 50 Bomb's Matchlocks shots, so this is kind of what we wanted. We kind of wanted a melee grinder, but at the same time, there's so much friendly fire that's going to be going on because of how our Matchlocks are positioned, and there's so much cav from Beardy and Braver that's coming to chase our cavalry off. And yeah, I definitely do get really bobbed up here. As you can see, I have 3 units pretty much on the same 2 or 3 of theirs, and I should have done a much better job spreading out. But I do still have my Matchlocks covering my flanks. And actually, pretty soon here, yeah, Beardy's cav has entered melee on our left flank. I have my fire cav in there doing some damage. Definitely outclasses his Yari cav with that fire cav. But Braver has the numbers on his side. He has a lot of light cav that he can flank around with. Really, I do think we have the cavalry advantage, though. And I do think we end up winning that cavalry engagement. In the middle, my katanas and nodachis are doing a decent job, but if I had flanked better, they would have done a much better job. And this battle is super chaotic and spread out all over the place at the moment. I have some light cav on my right killing some Matchlocks, and I'm going to pull them out pretty soon here when I notice that they're tied up on Yari Samurai. And I have some Yari in Spear Wall going into melee. And actually, Braver and Beardy did such a great job positioning their Matchlocks that my infantry engagement that I had in the middle isn't going very well for me. And really, it should have gone much better, but he had the Matchlocks firing in, and there's that huge morale penalty, and so I lost units that I probably shouldn't have lost. That wouldn't have happened if I just flanked around, done a better job flanking with my swords, which was a big mistake, but still have plenty of units left. Matchlock Samurai about to get a point-blank volley off on these Katana Samurai of Beardy in the middle. And 50 Bombs Daikyo are still doing a ton of damage. They've got 230 kills at the moment, so they've done a lot of damage. Chased off some of Beardy's Matchlocks, and I'm gonna flank my Matchlock Warrior Monks around and try to get a better angle off on these 3 units of Beardy's in the middle here. I've noticed though that I've lost the well, actually I should say it's more the right flank. The middle I lost. All my units are gone there. I have a katana that's about to break. And so I'm going to notice that and get out of stand and fight because I don't want to get shot by Bravers or Beardy's Matchlocks. I need to get my general out of there before he dies. And this is really, really close at the moment. I've got a couple Matchlocks left, a couple of swords left at half strength, and one cat unit that I'm all the way in the back of the map, and this was such a big mistake of mine. It had taken out some of his cav and was chasing down some routing units, and I let it I had a microlapse and let them get caught by Yari Samurai, and what would have been like a 40 strength cav unit goes down to 13, so that was huge. And if I hadn't let that happen, this would have been better. We would have been in a much better spot, but my katanas are on an island there. Braver's general is going to be able to kill that. I can't save them. So really I'm just going to retreat everything that I possibly can. I have a Nodachi left. My general went in to stand and fight there, which was not a great position because his matchlocks were so close. I shouldn't have done that. But this is getting really, really close now. This is going down to the wire. 50 Bomb has one matchlock samurai left with a bulletproof samurai chasing it. Oh, you know what? Actually, I just realized I did not bring Yamabushi Guide this battle, and that was another huge mistake that I had. Yeah, I didn't bring Yamabushi Guide this battle, and so I'm going to try to chase down that bulletproof samurai with my Nodachi, and I'm not going to be able to catch it because it has rapid advance, and he brought Yamabushi Guide. So I'm going to do everything I can to save 50 Bomb's matchlock samurai, but I just cannot catch it, and I have matchlocks in position to shoot it, but it's a bulletproof samurai. That's what they're good at, tanking bullets. So I can't really kill that with matchlocks. My Nodachi needs to catch up to it, and he's running so slow through the river right now. So I have a 35 men in a Yari Ashigaru, a katana, another Yari Ashigaru, and one matchlock left and a Nodachi. And 50 Bomb only has a Daikyu, which is about to die to Braver's General, and a matchlock unit. The problem is that they have a lot of guns. They have a matchlock Ashigaru, a matchlock Samurai, and that bulletproof Samurai. They're just going to be a thorn in our side at the end of this battle here. Trying so hard to kill it, and just don't have the speed to catch up to them. They finally entered melee, and we're going to get some shots off. But again, they're bulletproof Samurai. Bullets don't do too much to them. So I'm going to spear wall with my Yari Ashigaru, try to kill them in melee, but these guys have insane stats. 24 defense and 10 armor. So they're going to be able to tank for a while. And with excuse me, Braver's Yari Samurai and matchlocks coming in, we're really not in a good position. We're really clumped up, and our men are starting to rout. And we don't have any cavalry left, so Braver's Bogen can actually kind of wreak havoc on our matchlocks because he can use it as cavalry and just kind of rout. And there goes my matchlocks. The bulletproof samurai is still tanking in there, and we're getting shot from multiple flanks, and we're completely surrounded at this point. And we are not going to win, unfortunately. But I thought that was a really interesting battle because there's a lot of positioning that went into that. We started off kind of skirmishing across the rivers from each other, and then kind of shifted across the river and sought a melee engagement right in the middle. Tried to push that melee advantage that we had, but they did a good job of positioning their matchlocks and taking out my infantry units. And if my infantry units had had more time to kill, they wouldn't have won, but it was just how they positioned their matchlocks made me rout much quicker than I would have liked. But let's zoom down and look at my Nodachis. I've only got 4 of them left, and they're still alive because I bonsai'd, but they're brave men, but they're not gonna be able to withstand all the matchlock fire that's coming in now. And they're gonna get a couple kills and die. They just both died. Poor guys. Thank you, Nodachis. Thank you for your sacrifice. But that's the end of the battle. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll go over the stat screen after this, and I'll see you in a minute. I'd like to take a moment of silence for a few seconds here to remember my 2 brave Nodachis that, in the face of great peril, still managed to kill 2 Yari Samurai before dying. Very brave men, and I think we should take a moment of silence for them. Thank you for your sacrifice, Nodachis. We love you. Okay, I don't know what that was. That was weird. Alright, let's look at the stats real quick. I had a katana with 173 kills. That was my best unit. Did a pretty good... I mean, I had my sword units where I wanted them. I just didn't flank enough. If I had been able to shut down their matchlocks, I would have been able to win that fairly easily. I just didn't flank enough. I was microing elsewhere. I had my matchlocks on the flank, trying to protect against cav, and the battle was so spread out. I just didn't micro properly. If I had done a better job spreading out with my swords, I think I would have done a much better job and probably been able to pull that battle out, considering how close it was. My matchlocks did a pretty good job. 123 kills, it's not bad. And then, yeah, a bunch of my melee units. 75 kills for a katana that's rank 6. Not good at all. Yariashgar obviously didn't do well, but Yariashgar suck anyway. So, not surprising there. Braver's General, almost 300 kills. Ridiculous. And that was because he managed to keep that as a cavalry unit when there was no other cavalry left on the field. And he used his bow gen pretty effectively. Got a lot of kills with that. 276 kills for 50 bombs. Daikyu Samurai. So you skirmished very well with that. You get 300 kills with a bow or close to it, you've done a good job. They've done their duty. He skirmished very well. It just wasn't quite enough. I think he didn't have quite enough melee units. If he'd been able to keep his mounted gunners alive, we would have won that battle for sure, because late game they would have had nothing to counter that except Braver's General. And obviously you don't want to send a general straight into the sight of a mounted gunner. His Great Guard did really bad though. I'm not sure what happened to his Cav. 53 kills for a Great Guard is not good, but it happens. And for Beardy, those bulletproof samurai, man, they screwed us up. If we had been able to take that out earlier in the battle, yeah, again, we probably would have won, but those things were just running in our backfield for the last couple minutes, and we just did not have the melee units to kill it or catch it. And matchlocks don't do anything to bulletproof samurai, so that heavily upgraded bulletproof was a great call, and it ended up screwing us really bad. So I thought that was a really interesting battle. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of stuff going on, really spread out, a lot of maneuvering, but if you guys want to see more of those kind of battles, then feel free to leave a comment in the section below. And we've got lots of more content coming, as I'm sure you are aware. So I will talk to you guys later. See ya.